For years, Hollywood told two very different stories about Val Kilmer. One described him as one of the most gifted actors of his generation. The other painted him as difficult, demanding, and nearly impossible to work with. But after Kilmer's passing, an interview with Kurt Russell resurfaced that challenged everything people thought they knew. So what was the real truth about Val Kilmer? And why did one of his closest co-stars defend him so passionately decades after they worked together? To understand the story, we have to go back to the making of Tombstone. The 1993 Western was already in trouble before filming had barely begun. Original director Kevin Jarrah was dismissed just weeks into production after falling behind schedule, leaving the cast and crew in the middle of a crisis. Veteran director George P. Cosmatos stepped in, but years later, Kurt Russell revealed there was much more happening behind the scenes than audiences ever realized. According to Russell, he spent countless nights preparing shot lists and helping guide the production, quietly ensuring the film stayed on track. It became one of Hollywood's best-kept secrets, and somehow, despite the chaos, Tombstone became one of the greatest westerns ever made. But there was another challenge. By the early 1990s, Val Kilmer already had a reputation. He was known as an incredibly dedicated actor, but also as someone who could be demanding and uncompromising. His commitment to every role often led to stories of creative clashes and difficult productions. On paper, combining a troubled film set with one of Hollywood's most intense actors sounded like a recipe for disaster. Instead, something remarkable happened. In a 2024 interview, Kurt Russell spoke openly about working with Kilmer, describing their relationship as one built on complete trust. He said they shared the same creative vision and understood each other throughout filming. Rather than struggling to work together, Russell said Kilmer delivered a performance that only a handful of actors could ever achieve. That performance, of course, was Doc Holliday. Even after more than 30 years, Russell called Kilmer's portrayal brilliant. A statement made before Kilmer's passing, with no publicity or tribute in mind. It was simply his honest opinion. Their friendship didn't end when filming wrapped. As a tradition, actors sometimes exchange gifts after completing a movie. Russell decided to give Kilmer something unforgettable, a burial plot at the historic Boot Hill Graveyard in Tombstone, Arizona, believing it perfectly suited the legendary Doc Holliday, a man constantly living in the shadow of death. Without discussing it beforehand, Kilmer unknowingly chose an equally symbolic gift. He purchased Kurt Russell an acre of land overlooking Boot Hill Cemetery. Neither actor knew what the other had planned. One gave a place beneath the ground, the other gave a view from above it. It was an extraordinary coincidence that reflected just how deeply connected they had become during the making of the film. Years later, Kilmer shared his own side of the story. In a personal blog, he credited Russell as the driving force behind Tombstone's success, praising his leadership and dedication during one of the most challenging productions of his career. Russell, in return, never stopped praising Kilmer's talent. When Val Kilmer passed away in 2025 after years of health struggles following throat cancer, tributes poured in from across Hollywood. Fans remembered his unforgettable performances as Doc Holliday, Iceman, Jim Morrison, Batman, and many more. As those tributes spread, Kurt Russell's interview resurfaced around the world, not because it revealed a scandal, but because it revealed something much rarer in Hollywood: genuine respect. For decades, people focused on Kilmer's reputation. Russell reminded everyone to focus on his brilliance. Perhaps that's the real legacy of their friendship. Not two stars battling egos on a difficult movie set, but two artists who recognized greatness in one another, supported each other through extraordinary circumstances, and helped create one of the greatest westerns ever made. Sometimes, the most enduring Hollywood stories aren't about rivalries or controversies. They're about trust, respect, and friendships that quietly stand the test of time. So, what do you think? Was Doc Holliday Val Kilmer's greatest performance, or do you have another favorite role? If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below with your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.